Hi everyone, this is Victoria and I'm here with your special edition reading for this full moon in Aquarius. Where do I even begin? Full moons have such a potent energy, and that's why we're doing this reading tonight. I don't think I'm going to stop too much on the rituals, what you can do. There's a lot of information out there. I'm just going to give you some pointers that full moon is about release, closure, putting something behind you that you decide you don't want to keep in your life. And Aquarius is an air sign, so work with the element of air. That could include affirmations, mantras, prayers said out loud, could be singing, spells if that's up your alley, but it's could even be dance, because you're moving in the air and you're kind of sending a message too. So it's kind of like your words are becoming even more magnetic, right? But Aquarius energy is also about innovation. It's about thinking outside the box, breaking the boundaries, breaking the mold essentially to create something completely new. So see how that could be of benefit in your life. Where can you use a little more creativity and try to do things differently? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with an oracle deck. I've got the Cosmic Journey Oracle today, and I will pull 3 cards for 3 themes of this full moon. And then I will move to tarot, and I will do a guidance reading for each zodiac sign. And we'll start with Aquarius this time because this is full moon in Aquarius, and then I'll just go around the zodiacal wheel to end with Capricorn. There will be timestamps, so don't worry, it will be easy to find your reading. And just remember that these messages are for sun, moon, and rising sign. And I would say if you're absolutely short on time, then definitely, and you can only watch or listen to one message for yourself, then choose your moon sign, because we are talking about moon energy right now. But if you have time, please check out sun, moon, and rising, because this will be a more well-rounded message for you. All right, with all that said, let's get started. Hopefully it's gonna stay as quiet and peaceful here. Got a couple of dogs around, so if you hear barking, that's just nature. Part of the nature that you can see was this hydrangeas and all the beautiful trees around me. Okay, so for the themes, the first card is right into this reality. You see, that's actually another modality you can use for manifesting certain closure, for getting certain clarity. Yeah, full moons are also about getting clarity where you couldn't put a finger on it. You didn't really understand why you attract certain scenarios, certain types of people. And now it's like all coming to light because the full moon illuminates things that are usually hidden from us. I also might be on the checkout a little disclaimer for mosquitoes because I put some mosquito repellent on me, but not too much, so I need to be cautious because I already had my multiple mosquito biting accidents this summer. So anyways, right into reality is another modality that you can work with to get clarity, like automated writing, journaling, maybe even putting down a story like a poem or novel, right? You could be, because people really underestimate those genres in terms of personal work and healing, right? And you can explore the topic, but essentially this is the way you speak into reality, whether it's actual speaking or it's writing, because that is also going to be air element. Right into this reality, what is really going on, right? And since we're talking mostly about closure and releasing yourselves from certain burdens, certain unhealthy attachments, then see where you can spot some of those things that you want to leave behind, and express gratitude or express forgiveness if that is what's necessary to find closure with those situations. It's a very important part, acknowledging, and then how do you transmute that energy, right? Through those powerful intentions and powerful messages. The second one, you're perfectly imperfect. Acknowledging your unique self, acknowledging that, you know, we're all on a healing journey. We're all having this earthly experience to learn, essentially. Nobody knows all the right answers, not a one single person, right? And it's part of the beauty of our experience to find out more about, you know, the meaning of life, what makes us happy and joyful, and also who we are, what do we bring to this world and to the table, right? So it's important to, what's the word? To respect the journey and remind yourself about it right now, even if you are not 100% happy about where you are or how you behave yourself. And finally, we have, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Filling up your cup is very important. And I feel like this is more aligned for those who are considering their relationships, whether it's romantic or friendship or familial or even professional, but somebody important to you, right? And if you've been feeling guilty that you haven't really given enough to that relationship, think about this, right? And if you're struggling on the inside and dealing with a lot yourself, then, you know, this is your priority and that's what you should be focusing on. Because when you are stretching yourself too thin, then it's difficult to be successful in any of the areas, and it will only be draining you more and more. So it's like a whirlwind, you know, it's gonna suck you in eventually. What's also interesting, just for a moment, so these are our three themes. The numbers are 32, 34, and 35. Very interesting. They're very close to each other. Also, I did shuffle very well, and I even pulled cards from different parts of the deck. So I did like from the middle, from the top, from somewhere else. So very interesting that they're in the 30s. And I'll leave it to you to decide if it has a special meaning to you for, you know, one way or another. Also, we missed 33, so it could be interesting to look into that too. Right, with all that said, I'm gonna start our guided messages for zodiac sign, and the first one is gonna be Aquarius. So what does Aquarius need to know during this full moon? During the full moon in Aquarius. Seven of Swords, clarified by 10 of Pentacles, and 7 of Wands. 2 sevens. I feel like it's really a time of individuation for you, apart from the crowd, from your community, from maybe other people like you, or even you know, humanity at large, right? And this is about stepping into the next phase of your journey, meaning that this is a time for you to develop your unique style, your unique way, without looking back, without feeling like you're a fraud, or, you know, you're gonna ruffle some feathers and do something that is not gonna be acceptable or preferred by some people, but it's not supposed to stop you. It doesn't take anything away from you, I wanted to say, but actually, like, that could be the key to success, where you were limiting yourself, like with these bars here before, you know, putting yourself in a certain box where it's like, yeah, you know, why complicate things? I'm just gonna go with the grain and, you know, do what people expect me to do. But now it's like, no, I want to be successful, even if I have to get this success by myself, right? So where is the truth for you? It's important to, when you're going deeper with your dream, with your goal, whatever that is for you right now in focus, it's important to go into the direction of more authenticity and more of the stuff that you want to amplify. So think about that. Not like putting up with things, even if it's temporarily in your head, right? It's more about creating what is it that you want to have more of in your life. That's the power that you have right now. All right, that was Aquarius. Next, we're gonna go to Pisces. What does Pisces need to know right now? Queen of Pentacles, clarified by Knight of Swords, that's our air sign, and Temperance. So this is about you creating your style, your image, actually your success, whatever that is for you, right? For some, it might be creating a home and a family. For others, it's reaching success in your business, investments, entrepreneurship, whatever that is for you. But it's important that the key is to it. So you've got the potential, you've got the goods to be there, to get there, and even further away that you are thinking about right now. But it's important to have the right mindset for it, and to be able to communicate how you see this moving forward. What is your vision? What do you want? Especially if and when other people get involved in the process, right? And always remember to go back to self and do a check of how you feel about it, right? And especially when you see some challenges, some obstacles on your way, it's important to take a break and go back to self and remind yourself why you're doing it in the first place. And do your techniques, especially depending on what's coming up. It could be techniques of gratitude, of forgiveness, of closure and cutting cords with something old. Maybe some fears are coming up for you right now because of the old stories that you're telling yourself, that you've experienced in the past, right? And it's important to deal with those rather than just suppress them. I was listening to a video today. Sorry, it feels like one of the mosquitoes got me. Just gonna check quickly. I was listening to a video today, somebody talking about the suppressed emotions and inner child, right? And there is definitely a connection between those things. But yeah, basically this person was saying, like, you can't just tell yourself not to feel those things, right? There are always impermissible emotions in our understanding, in our mindset, right? Somehow from childhood we learn that you're not supposed to be sad, be angry, impatient, whatever the list is. So when those emotions are coming up for us in a situation, when something triggers us, a lot of times we just suppress it and we tell ourselves, like, no, you're not supposed to be like that, right? Or at least not express it. But it's important to be very honest about what is it that you're going through now, because that's the only way that you can then alchemize it into something better, or it's the only way that you can actually heal the problem within yourself, right? And I'm not, again, not to say that your feelings are a problem, but they are covering for some kind of painful experience from the past, right? And you can only heal it once you feel it, So something to keep in mind, and not push away those impermissible feelings and emotions, but really accept them. And if you can even say to yourself, no, it's okay. It's okay that you're angry right now. It's fine. Sit with it. Listen to what your inner child has to tell you. That's that part where we reparent ourselves, essentially. All right, that was Pisces. Now let's go to Aries. Ziggy, are you okay? Ten of Pentacles, clarified by Ace of Pentacles and Ace of Swords. I'm gonna keep checking my feet because I feel like I haven't put enough repellent. All right. So Ten of Pentacles essentially is telling you, especially in this deck, is that whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. You know, in the physical world, what that ambitious goal that you have, or even goals multiple, you have what it takes. But it's very important to also remember like the keys, the tools that you use for success, right? Because it might take you a different amount of time, it might be more exciting, it might be more tedious, it may be burdensome. It's up to you really. So whatever comes up for you, if during this full moon you are thinking about certain challenges that you're facing on the way to reach your dream, then know that this is a reflection of the tools and the practices and the approaches that you've used to get to where you are. So if that's not working for you, means something has to change. And I'm sure a lot of you would already know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this. But even if you don't, it's like both of these are keys in terms of communication, healthy communication, and energy exchange. You know, it's abundance, but it's more than anything. It's like, how do you present yourself and your resources to the world? Your skills also count as those, right? How do you treat yourself in terms of time and energy, right? And any other talents, any other maybe physical resources that you have. Do you value them? And how do you do the exchange when it comes to that, right? Something to think about. And the same way how you communicate about yourself to the world and to self. By the way, we're still in Mercury retrograde as we speak. It's going to end on the 11th of August, and there will be a shadow period even after that. So definitely that is a valid question at the moment. Like all these Mercury questions around expressing yourself and communicating with the world. How do you talk to yourself about yourself and to other people? What is your story? What do you tell them? Who are you? What is happening with you? So give you some food for thought there, Aries. Now, let's go to Taurus. Hopefully I'm not gonna miss any signs because I don't have like a piece of paper where I write it off or something. So this is just all on me and my memory. And I remember the last time I was doing this kind of reading, I actually recorded two messages for Leo. But I guess Leo needed to hear 2 messages that day. That was a bonus for Leo. But anyway, back to Taurus. So Taurus, you've got the Hermit, clarified by King of Pentacles, that's Taurus, and 9 of Pentacles. Oh, I love this. So the key to success in the physical, a lot of times is around the emotional, well, how do I say this? I want to say emotional healing. This is actually Virgo, which is about physical healing. But what I wanted to say is that you may be taking the task in a very direct way, right? Like essentially thinking about, okay, how do I make this amount of money? How do I, find people that I need for doing the job, or how do I create the home of my dreams or something like that. But a lot of times it's actually deeper than that, or this is not the most important questions. But there's something here, and Virgo is about healing, but it's in a more practical sense, right? It's in a more traditional sense of like what is the medicine, right? And of course, here I don't like to do, as a person who doesn't really do much of the traditional medicine, I don't like to talk about that. So it's not, to me, that's not really about it. Although there is a lot of, natural remedies and, of a variety of different modalities, including, acupuncture, sound healing, crystal healing, like all kinds of things. There's different tinctures and herbs as well. So that's the kind of healing that we mean here, physically, technically, very directly. But it's also about our habits. It's also about how do we write our stories day in, day out with little things that essentially make up the big things. If you've read the Atomic Habits book by James Clear, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because his like underlying concept of his entire book is about that, you know. And the reason he's talking about changing habits, at least, you know, 1% a day, is because essentially he says that habits, and he makes his point, but essentially habits build your life, right? Because they get us to doing things on autopilot, where it becomes subconscious, and we can choose to set those up with the settings that we want, or a lot of times we don't, and we just start running on autopilot so much of our life, right? And this is bringing it back to conscious reality, you know, where you acknowledge why you have certain habits, why you built your daily routine a certain way, right? And then see how do you want to change it so you can get to the life that you want to create for yourself in the physical, including your lifestyle, including your physical health and wellness, and including the abundance that you're wishing to create. All right, that was Taurus. Taurus is taking a note from Virgo today. Now let's switch to Gemini. Yeah, I think there are mosquitoes here that are biting me even through my pants. I'm wearing pants. All right, Gemini. King of Cups, clarified by 9 of Wands, and 10 of Cups. Wow. Oof. So it looks like for you, Gemini, there is a chance to find a lot more emotional stability and go deeper with what's been going on for you, and find a key to solve certain issues. And they could be very specific, like, I don't know, you can't sleep at night, or there's a problem with digestion or something like that. Or they could be more subtle in terms of you just not feeling that great, because maybe you feel like you've made some mistakes, maybe you feel like you've let somebody down, maybe you feel like you were overly emotional in a certain situation, and somehow it created it put you in a negative position, right? Whether you were angry and maybe took it out on someone, or you were extra vulnerable and showed your weak side, and now you feel like that's gonna work against you, whatever it is, right? This is an opportunity for you to see more of that dynamic, right? And see how you can actually not turn it into sleepless nights and anxiety, but rather find more fulfillment and joy. Even if something like that happens, if you've missed your train to respond rather than react, right? There's still ways of how you can turn this around, at least for your own sake, right? It's not always that you can roll back what you said and go back to with another person, right? Sometimes there are just things that you can't go back from. But you can always do that remedy for yourself, within yourself. That's the most important goal anyway. Which sounds a little selfish, but that's the goal. So this is for you, Gemini, to find it. But not through like usual methods that you used to, through information, through analytical thinking, but more through intuition and energy balance, right? Where you are in a better state of mind, and it allows you to take things easy, but also find more understanding in what's going on in the situation, why it brings up this kind of feelings or emotions for you. All right, next we go to Cancer. What does Cancer need to know during this full moon? Knight of Swords, clarified by King of Wands and Queen of Wands. Wow, so there's a couple here. It could be you and another person. It could be 2 other people in your life that are very much in sync with each other. They could be a married couple, of course, but could just be people who are passionate about what they do. And it is for you now to take notes and really put it into like a practical guide, almost like for yourself, You know, like these people are inspirational to you in the way they think, the way they express themselves, the way they live their life, you know, and certain success that they've had. But it's like there's a lot of this, and you can see the fiery energy here, right? That's the Wands element. The Wands element. The Wands suite. But for you, it's important to kind of like bring it down to earth, so that's something that you can describe for yourself and possibly for other people that you can share it with in the future to help them find the answer, right? So this is like observing what's going on and being able to put it into words that you can write down or at least record it somehow, right? It doesn't have to be writing necessarily, but it is about taking notes, capturing it somehow, right? Because whatever you hear from these people, whatever you observe from how they interact with each other and with the world, it will be a very important revelation for you on what you haven't been seeing before, or what you need to put more attention into. Oof, got a scratch in my throat. Next we'll go to Leo. What does Leo need to know during this full moon in Aquarius? The World was kind of on the side, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Justice. Two of Swords. So Leo, it looks like you are longing for peace and balance, but there are a lot of irons in the oven, and it's like you know that you won't be able to keep up with all of it, but it's a very difficult choice in terms of what do I keep, what do I let go of, right? And it's almost like I'm seeing this image of somebody trying to balance on a rope, you know, a person who's like doing acrobatics and walks the rope, and they're at some point they stand in the middle of that rope, and they lift one of their legs, so they're standing on one leg and they're like in this position balancing, right? And it's like, yeah, what can possibly go wrong with that? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have done the acrobatics, but yeah, it's like right now you're in a position where you realize that it's not gonna last. So like, how do I make whichever decision I make right now to turn something down, to cut it off, somebody's gonna get upset with me. So it's like, it feels like a lose-lose situation. So what I suggest to do in this case is to think of what is gonna be better for you. Don't think about other people as a priority, think about yourself as a priority. Because if somebody's gonna get upset, you might as well do something that works for you and that supports you, nourishes you, or leaves you time for, you know, self-care and for working on that balance internally. Because when you're a lot more balanced internally, it will be a lot easier for you to support it externally, right? And now with the World on the side, it's like, you know that something's coming to an end. There's an end to a cycle, but you don't want to let it go, right? It's like, no, but it's pretty, or, you know, I've put so much energy in this, or I've been with this person for 20 years. And it's like, how can I even think about leaving them now? But again, it's more about connecting to your intuition and seeing what kind of decision brings more balance into your life and supports you with your real goals. That's another part of it, right? To see where are you going right now? What is your priority in life? And based on that, maybe I'll go here. Based on that, you can decide what doesn't comply with those goals, right? That happens to more people that care to admit it, where we're doing 5 different things because somehow they got into our life, right? And we were like, maybe we even thought about it and we're like, yeah, I want to do this, or I want to have this relationship. But then when we have other like in other contexts, we have these conversations about intentions and goals and vision, and our vision is somewhere else, like could not even include any of the 5 fates, right? And it's like there's this dissonance. That's where the disbalance appears, and the universe is like, well, you say you want this, but you're wasting your time, well, essentially, right, with all of these other activities. Why? Like, put your, you know, money where your mouth is, kind of idea. All right, that was Leo. Now we'll go to Virgo. What does Virgo need to know during this full moon in Aquarius? 9 of Swords, clarified by the Emperor, and King of Pentacles again. So it's like almost like you're afraid of your dream coming true. That's what I'm hearing for your Virgo, which is, it sounds weird, but it's not that unusual, honestly. It's like you're kind of sabotaging your own success. Sorry, guys. You're kind of sabotaging your own success with this, because you know what you're gonna do. You know it's gonna take some courageous steps from you to step up, to be in the spotlight, and to take some risks. But because it's so unusual and unsettling, you kind of like, you keep saying that this is what you want, but at the same time, you haven't really dealt with the fear that's coming up. I was just talking about it at the beginning, where if certain unpermissible feelings and emotions come up for us, and anxiety and overwhelm are definitely those in the list. Let's just put it that way, they're in the list. If those come up for you, the solution is not to suppress them. It's not to just say, no, you know what, this is nothing. This means nothing to me. This anxiety is nothing. I'm just gonna continue focusing on this and I'll be fine, right? There's still some people who believe in quote unquote positive thinking, right? Where you just kind of positive think your way out of this, or you can do those energy healing sessions, right? And it's gonna put it to bed. Maybe you'll stop thinking about it, or maybe you'll temporarily have a relief, but guess what? The energy doesn't lie. And like whatever your field is and where you are is gonna stay there. And it's very much connected, especially since we're talking about the swords, which is the 4D reality with thoughts and words. They're directly connected with your mindset, with your psyche, what's going on there, right? So if that layer is not accessed and is not healed properly, then any other layer is only going to give you a very temporary effect. This is about recognizing what is the issue, what are you afraid of essentially here? What kind of risk do you not want to take? Or where are you afraid of public opinion? You see there are like lots of eyes on her in this deck. It's like, oh my God, people are going to start talking. And what? What is this really about? Go into this and discover the truth. It's going to help you remove this blocker that stands between you, that wall that stands between you and your dream. Okay, there may be some barking now. Next, we'll go to Libra. Libra, your card is 3 of Wands. Clarified by Knight of Pentacles and Page of Cups. So for you, it feels like the world is on your shoulders. It's a very interesting image here with this girl that is essentially a mountain, holding a ship, if somebody cannot see this. But the truth is that it's important to take life lighter, not to feel like, you know, every decision is like life and death decision, or there's just so much riding on it for you and for others. It's like, no, you're supposed to have some fun. You're supposed to discover how, you know, how things are and how you are in this world. What are you about? You know, what's special about you? What are you here for? And, you know, sometimes it feels like it's a slow journey, and, you know, that's okay. It's a phase. But don't feel rushed to go somewhere just because, you know, you're in the spotlight and there are lots of expectations from you to be at a certain level, to act with a certain speed, right? To show results. No, this is a reminder for you to see what really energizes you, what gets you excited on this journey. If nothing gets you excited on this journey, then, well, you know the answer. You need to change your dream and your journey. I have one card that's a little bit damaged and I'm trying to save it every time I shuffle, but it doesn't always work out. All right, next we'll go to Scorpio. What does Scorpio need to know during this full moon in Aquarius? King of Pentacles again. It's amazing. Four of Cups and Five of Cups. Don't be too hard on yourself, Scorpio. Especially with these Cups cards. It's like Scorpios feel things very deeply, and sometimes it can easily get yourself into a depressive or at least melancholic state. You know, where at first you're like, oh, what is my life? You know, things never work out the way I want. Some people get to that height and they make it and they have their success, and somehow I try so hard and it just never works, right? And then you can go into the Five of Cups where it's like, well, maybe I was at fault, you know, and it's like, you know, I had all the chances and I blew them. Or if I were with this person now, everything would have worked out for me. But it, you know, we're not together. So it's like mourning the possibilities of woulda, coulda, shoulda. But this situation with the King of Pentacles is actually your opportunity. It is about some kind of opportunity, whether in business or with changing your material life, you know, your surrounding, the place where you live. For some of you could be relocating to a new place, right? But this is like really, it's gonna do so much more for you than what it looks like on the surface if you let it, right? But it's important to work on these feelings, or feeling sorry for yourself, for the circumstances, for whatever else is going on, right? And get into a more of excitement and adventure vibe, and that will take you forward, right? Like there's so much goodness ahead of you that's, you know, waiting for you, but you are blocking that away with the sadness, the melancholy, and the mourning. And again, I'm not saying push this away because you're not supposed to feel this, but work with it in a more conscious way. So you can support yourself and make yourself feel better and release and forgive. And second of all, you can really heal it so that they don't, like these emotions don't come up the next time you're seeing some kind of a challenge, right? Or it's something new that you're pursuing. And you're like, oof, and your brain immediately goes into the familiar patterns and stories. And for some of you, I'm hearing, some of you don't even start with it because the stories start playing and you're like, yeah, I'm never gonna get that done, so I might as well not even start. All right, 2 signs left. The next one is gonna be Sagittarius. What does Sagittarius need to know during this full moon? The Emperor, clarified by 6 of Pentacles and 3 of Wands. All right, so this is very interesting because this is like, first of all, Emperor is about me, myself, and I. Aquarius energy that we're talking about is more about what can I do for humanity at large, right? And these cards are also about community, humanity, society, right? So I invite you, with this kind of energy, I invite you to see the connection between what you do for yourself and the ambition in your own reality that you're doing for yourself, and how it impacts the community, the society, through people that you are interacting with, so you're in relationships with directly, and through people who maybe don't even know you personally in real life, but they follow your socials. Maybe they've seen you somewhere, I don't know, on a podcast, or they've read your blog, your book, something else, right? And that's how they get excited and inspired by it. So don't put yourself in a box where you feel like you're being selfish and focusing on doing things for yourself, where it's not really helping society at large, right? It is, just maybe it's not as obvious yet, but it is. So keep going with it, or get started with it. All right, that was for Sagittarius. And last but not least, we have Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, what do you need to know? The Hermit, King of Pentacles for like the 6th time in this reading, and Queen of Pentacles. All right. First of all, this could be you and another person, because you are in Earth sign and Pentacles are Earth element. So you could be building a life with someone else, and the immediate instinct is to start planning certain aspects of your life, right? And it might get triggering, it might get difficult for a lot of you, right? Because you're focusing on different things in your own lives. Maybe you have different backgrounds, I'm hearing, for some of you at least. So it's like it takes work to build that bridge of like, what are we even trying to do here? Or which way are we gonna go with this or with that decision? And the truth is, it's not so much about negotiating between the two people, it's more about looking within and doing your own work, especially if certain questions become painful somehow, triggering, whatever the issue is, it's important to look into it. And that's the stuff that is like vast majority of people hates doing, right? It's better to cover it up or to continue suffering in silence. But for you, this is key if you want to make this a success. And for those of you who are single and don't have a significant other, that might as well be a friend, a family neighbor, maybe even a business partner, right? But it is a partnership where you speak the same language and there's a lot in common between the two of you, right? So there's a lot of opportunity here, a lot of prospect, but only if you're willing to look at yourself and what's going on with you as you're navigating this path. Okay, I hope this was useful for you, Capricorn, and actually for all of you guys. I am gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all the best for this full moon in Aquarius. That's gonna be peaking at around 3 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then of course you can check to see where it's peaking in your time zone. So please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and until next time,